Let us pray. Our Lord and our God, as the waters fill the sea, fill our nation with people who know and love you. Today, guide our lawmakers so that they will live for your honor, ensuring that our citizens will have a government of, by, and for the people. Lord, use our legislators to help end this government shutdown. Increase their faith, hope, and love, enabling them to transform cacophony into concord, doubt into faith, and falsehood into truth. May our senators seek to become a voice for those who are suffering during these challenging times, until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. We pray in your great name. Amen.
Will you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under the previous order, the leadership time is reserved. Under the previous order, the Senate will be in a period of morning business, with senators permitted to speak therein for up to 10 minutes each.
Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from Iowa.
Yeah. October is National Audiology Awareness Month. It also happens to be the 3-year anniversary of the bipartisan Over-the-Counter Hearing Aid Act regulations going into effect. You see this on television now, advertisements for Over-the-Counter Hearing Aid Act. Before this legislation was passed, there was a whole bunch of red tape you had to go through to buy very expensive hearing aids. Now they're more affordable. Now, while it took too many years for the Food and Drug Administration to issue these regulations 3 years ago, it followed my bipartisan 2017 law. I'm glad Americans now have access to safe, effective, and affordable hearing aid over the counter. While we've known for years that hearing loss is a major factor in a person getting dementia, it wasn't until recently that we found out that assessing hearing aids can decrease the risk of cognitive decline by nearly half. For many, purchasing hearing aids presents many questions. That's why accessing audiology service can be helpful. To access audiology services, like a diagnostic test under Medicare, a physician's order is required. That requires more time and a great number of hoops to jump through. I want people to know that I support cutting this unnecessary red tape. That's why I've partnered with my colleagues to introduce a legislation called the Medicare Audiology Access Improvement Act. Our bill will let seniors access a full range of hearing health services provided by licensed audiologists without the red tape. During Audiology Awareness Month, Americans should be aware that they can access hearing aids over the counter, and Congress is working hard to improve access to those audiology services. I yield the floor.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks.
Number 168, H.R. 5371.
The clerk will report.
Motion to proceed to calendar 160, H.R. 5371, an act making continuing appropriations and extensions for fiscal year 2026 and for other purposes.
Mr. President, this is a quote. The path forward for Congress is clear. Reopen the government immediately under a clean, continuing resolution that allows continued debate on larger issues, end quote. Mr. President, that is from the President of the American Federation of Government Employees, a labor union, I would add, most often aligned with Democrats. But this is what AFGE's president says, and I quote, "It's time to pass a clean, continuing resolution and end this shutdown today," end quote. Mr. President, I couldn't have said it better myself. And actually, I've been saying that for about a month now. But far-left activists wanted a showdown with President Trump. And so Democrats shut down the government and have forced hardworking Americans to live in uncertainty for 4 weeks. 4 weeks and counting. And even as nutrition programs are running out of money and federal workers are lining up at food banks, Democrats continue to reject every opportunity to end the shutdown or mitigate its pain. They now blocked a clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution 12 times. 12 times, Mr. President. A clean resolution sitting right there to open up the government, get everybody paid, get federal employees back to work. That thing sitting at the desk that funds the government doesn't have a single new Republican policy in it. It doesn't have a single partisan policy rider. It simply extends current government funding. But Democrats have said no to that now 12 times. We offered them a chance to continue the bipartisan appropriations process, starting with the defense appropriations bill, a bill that passed out of the committee by a big bipartisan vote of 26-3. But Democrats said no to that too. They didn't want to lose leverage in the shutdown. Then last week we offered up a bill to pay any federal employee who was working during the shutdown, including everybody here. And once again, Democrats said no. Now, Mr. President, I don't know what Democrats are holding out for. Do Democrats think that we're suddenly going to vote for their partisan CR, which, by the way, would spend an additional $1.5 trillion to keep the government open until the end of this week? That's their alternative. $1.5 trillion to keep the government open until Friday. That's their alternative. It wouldn't pass here. It can't pass in the House, and it wouldn't be signed into law by the President. Our bill, on the other hand, as I said, has passed the House a month ago, has been sitting here for an entire month, and will be signed by the President immediately to reopen the government. I have to say, Mr. President, this wasn't my plan for the month of October. A government shutdown may have been what Democrats had in mind to show the far left that they're fighting President Trump and to get some cheers at the No Kings rally. But that wasn't my plan. My plan was to get the government funded with as little drama as possible. That's why Republicans put forward a clean continuing resolution. No partisan policies, nothing new. Who could possibly have a problem with that? It would give us more time to continue progress on full-year appropriations bills, the way we're supposed to fund the government. Now, I would realize that would be out of the ordinary given the past few years under the Democrat majority and Leader Schumer, but I was clear from the day I took office that I wanted to do things differently around here. My goal was to have an open process, conducted through regular order, something that I think is in the best interest of this institution and of all senators, both sides of the aisle. And I know I was not alone in wanting an open process. And until Democrats derailed everything, we had actually made a lot of progress on restoring regular order this year. We passed 3 bipartisan appropriations bills before the August recess, the first time the Senate had done that since 2018. Now we're trying to go to conference on those 3 bills to reach a final agreement with the House. And the Democrats are blocking that. That includes the agriculture bill that funds farm programs and nutrition assistance, the military construction and VA bill that funds programs that veterans rely on. As I said, we tried to bring up the defense appropriations bill this month in hopes that if Democrats wouldn't agree to fund the entire government, we could at least make some progress on this critical aspect of it. And I told my Democrat colleagues at the time that if we got on that bill, we would work to add other bipartisan bills, the same way we did it just a few months ago. But once again, Democrats said no. No to funding programs that they claim they support. No to an open process. No to bipartisanship. Mr. President, time and again we've heard the Democrat leader lecture about bipartisanship. So why is his caucus blocking progress on bipartisan appropriations bills? Why are Democrats blocking bills that they helped write in the Appropriations Committee, where these bills are passing with overwhelming bipartisan margins, as I said, 26-3? Why are they upending a bipartisan process that benefits all senators on both sides of the aisle? The senior senator from Hawaii said recently, and I quote, "We still have hope for the appropriations process. There's a bipartisan desire to get something done and avoid a full-year continuing resolution," end quote. Well, all I can say in response is that if Democrats still have hope for the appropriations process, they need to start acting like it. We're running out of time. And every day Democrats say no to reopening the government is another day lost. Mr. President, we've given Democrats a lot of opportunities to work in the best interest of the American people. But Democrats seem more interested in getting the upper hand in their partisan games. The number 2 Democrat in the House said last week, and I quote, "I mean, shutdowns are terrible, and of course there will be, families that are going to suffer, but is one of the few leverage times we have," end quote. Of course there will be families that are going to suffer, but it is one of the few leverage times we have. That from the second-ranking Democrat in the House of Representatives. I think it describes where we're at, Mr. President. Sure, people are suffering, but Democrats need their leverage. Are they serious? Mr. President, I end as I began, quoting the president of a major labor union and a Democrat ally. This is the quote: "The path forward for Congress is clear. Reopen the government immediately under a clean continuing resolution that allows continued debate on larger issues," end quote. Mr. President, I yield the floor and I suggest the absence of the quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alston-Brooks.
Mr. President.
I recognize the Majority Whip.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the quorum call be vitiated.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to waive the mandatory quorum calls with respect to the cloture on the Pratt and the LaCour Jr. nominations.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, today marks day 28 of the Schumer shutdown of the United States government. Democrats continue to block a clean, continuing resolution that would reopen the government. For them, it's a big game. And for the American people, they continue to suffer. So listen to their own words. Listen to what Senator Schumer has said. He gloated to the press. He said, "Every day gets better for us." I got to wonder who the us is, because it's not the American people. And then just last week, the Democrat whip in the House of Representatives, she said to the press in an interview broadcast on television, proudly proclaiming, it looks like, she says, "Of course there will be families that are going to suffer." And she said, "But that is one of the few leverage times we have." Leverage? The Democrats are playing the politics of pain, and the American people are the ones that are suffering. And it's wrong, it's heartless, it's mean. Leverage for what? Taxpayer giveaways of health care funded by the taxpayers to illegal immigrants who stormed into this country in the last administration? Is that why they're shutting down the government? Leverage for that? Leverage for $1.5 trillion in new spending? Leverage so they can eliminate the one thing that we passed this summer to help our rural hospitals, $50 billion for rural hospitals, remote hospitals like those that we have all across the country. They want to get rid of that. Leverage for that. Leverage that they continue to suck up to the far left radical wing of their party they're trying to impress. That's not good for our country. Mr. President, it's not good for health care. It's not good for anything. I'm a doctor, practiced medicine in Wyoming for 24 years, and look, I want Americans to have high-quality, affordable health care. That's what we want for the American citizens. But right now, that's impossible because American health care is broken. The Democrats broke it. They broke it when they passed Obamacare. The day they passed Obamacare, they broke health care in America. And a headline in the Sunday New York Times proves the point. First three words, Obamacare is pricey. That's what they've done. They said, oh, we want to lower the cost of care. They didn't. They misnamed it, as put the word affordable. There's nothing affordable about it. Obamacare has been pricey from the beginning, and it's getting worse. The Washington Post editorial page agrees. They wrote recently, quote, the real problem is that the Affordable Care Act was never actually affordable. That's the Washington Post. They're right. Obamacare is a failed program. It's failed financially. Democrats created it, and they continue to defend the failure today. Democrats tried to prop up Obamacare with very juicy subsidies to try to hold down out-of-pocket costs. Then when Joe Biden became president, Democrats added Biden COVID bonus payments on top of all the subsidies. These payments are an admission that Obamacare's flaws have only gotten worse. Democrats voted twice to make these Biden COVID bonus payments temporary. The first was scheduled to end in 2022. But they were noting that Obamacare was still failing miserably, so they extended the payments again, and they extended them to the end of this year. Democrats set the expiration date. Democrats created the cliff. Democrats created what they're now referring to as a crisis. Remember, Democrats created Obamacare, and they created these Biden COVID bonus payments, and they did it without a single Republican vote. Not in the House, not in the Senate, not a single one. These payments were always intended to be temporary, or so they claimed. Democrats' own report that they wrote back there when they passed it says they were to be applied, quote, during the public health emergency. Today, Democrats are now demanding $350 billion in permanent new spending. Why? Because they need to prop up Obamacare once again because it's failed. When the Democrats say fix it now, what they're really saying is prop up Obamacare forever. It's wrong. COVID is over. Democrats probably didn't see the memo. Maybe they don't realize it's over. They're still trying to go after money for COVID. Look, even after the Biden bonus COVID payments expire, the federal government is still going to pay for 80% of the average Obamacare enrollee's premium because Obamacare is pricey. That's what the New York Times tells us. What is expiring now is this added cash that Democrats paid insurers during the pandemic. Money didn't go to private individuals, didn't go to citizens, it went to the insurance companies. They won't tell you that either. These Biden COVID bonus payments are riddled with waste, fraud, abuse, and actual corruption. Democrats removed every income limit on the subsidies. No means testing whatsoever. And you hear Bernie Sanders come out to the floor and say, oh, we can't do this for millionaires and billionaires. They did it for millionaires and billionaires. Remove the upper limit. Anybody, sky's the limit. No matter how much money you make, no matter what's going on in your life, you get these bonus payments through COVID, through the Democrats, and they want to make it permanent. It's absolutely wrong. It's ridiculous. In 2024, 12 million people that they've enrolled in this program got insurance that they never used. And since the subsidies flow directly to the insurance company from the government, the insurers pocketed tens of billions of dollars even though the enrollees did not make a single claim. So how does that happen? Well, let me talk about some of the waste and some actual fraud and manipulation that's going on, because in 29 states of our 50, more people are claiming full benefits than are eligible for those benefits in the state. How can the Democrats have that to do with that for the last 4 years? That's what we're trying to take a look at and say, Mr. President, this is wrong. 6.4 million people under the Biden administration were improperly enrolled that year. $27 billion paid by hardworking taxpayers for all of these people who were improperly enrolled. At least 1.6 million people were doubly enrolled in both Medicaid and in Obamacare, which of course is not allowed. It's illegal. You can't do it. Democrats allowed it to happen because they don't care. They've never shown they care. It's all a political game for them. You heard it. You heard the whip in the House say, oh, no, this gives us leverage. You heard the minority leader here, Chuck Schumer, say every day gets better for them. Well, it doesn't get better for the American people. This isn't about making health care more affordable. This is a direct theft of taxpayer money. And it's all to prop up a program that they named after President Obama, Obamacare, and it's a program that never worked. Health care costs continue to go up. Obamacare failed to address that. And as even the New York Times said on Sunday, Obamacare is pricey. So what caused those prices to go up? Well, Democrats did, of course. When government pays any price, insurers can charge any price. It's exactly what's happening today. And now it's the American families who are paying their taxes who are paying the price. Republicans will not allow Democrats to paper over the inadequacies of Obamacare. We want to get to the root cause of the cost of high medical care. Democrats are protecting waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption. At the same time, federal workers are getting and going on unpaid. Enough is enough. Even liberal labor unions are fed up with the Democrats' politics of pain. And we've seen it. Finally, yesterday, the American Federation of Government Employees urged Democrats join Republicans, reopen the government. So what exactly did they say? They said both political parties have made their point, and then went on to say it is time to pass a clean continuing resolution and end the shutdown today. Not half measures, no gamesmanship. That's from the union that has for years and years and years supported Democrat candidates across the board. They're saying do what Republicans have been saying from the beginning, pass a clean continuing resolution. Remember, they did it 13 times when Joe Biden was president, and now they voted against it 13 times with Donald Trump in the White House. It's a big political game for the Democrats, and it's a dangerous game, and the American people are suffering. So are the Democrats going to listen to the union that represented and worked with the Democrats to get them elected in the first place? Well, we're going to find out. Let me echo what Leader Thune said. Republicans are happy to address Obamacare's many failures, but first we need to reopen the government. There's not going to be negotiations while the government is closed. We're not going to negotiate with hostage takers. We need to reopen the government and then talk about all the things that people want to talk about. Because right now, our troops, women, infants, and children in the Women, Infants, and Children program, they shouldn't be used as leverage for the Democrats to try to save their failed programs. Air traffic controllers, TSA agents who I talked to yesterday coming through Wyoming to come back to Washington, they don't want to be used as pawns. They don't want to be thought of as chips on the table in a political game of leverage. And Chuck Schumer saying every day gets better for us. That's wrong, Mr. President. The American people deserve better. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor. Suggest the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsterbrooks.
Mr. President.
Senator from Alabama.
Mr. President, I come to the floor today to talk about two bills I recently introduced to shut down Sharia law in this country. I ruffled some feathers a few weeks ago when I came to the Senate floor to talk about what I believe is the greatest national security threat facing the United States of America. Radical Islam and Sharia law. The Democrats and the mainstream media, they've been coming after me ever since I started talking about this subject. But after spending 40 years coaching, I don't really care what people think about me. I love this country, and I want to save this country for our kids and our grandkids. You know, I was back in Alabama this weekend, and I heard from countless Alabamians who told me they are 100% behind what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, I work for the great people of Alabama and the great people of this country, not the pearl-clutching media that is out there hammering me every day. Speaking of Alabama, I'm proud that the Yellowhammer State banned Sharia law a long time ago. For too long, people have been afraid to call out radical Islam for what it is. Because if you dare to speak out, the left will come after you, your family, your reputation, and your job. They'll try to ruin your life just because they disagree with you. That's how they play the game. One of the radical left's go-to tactics is to accuse anyone who disagrees with them as being a racist, a bigot, or intolerant. They've tried that with me, calling me an Islamophobe for calling out the evils of Islam. But there's only one problem with that strategy. One, radical Islam isn't a race, it's an ideology. It's a choice. And I would argue it is a cult. So no, I'm not an Islamophobe. If you want to peacefully practice your religion, that's fine with me. That's what our Constitution gives you the right to do. Our Constitution gives you that right, and that's why we have millions of Christians, Jews, Mormons, Hindus, Buddhists, and peaceful Muslims who worship freely in this great country of ours called the United States of America. But if you come here, you are expected to assimilate to our country and our values. I recently saw a stat that absolutely shocked me. We have 42 million people in this country that are on food stamps. 42 million. You would think these people are just Americans who have fallen on hard times, which is who the program is for. But a disproportionate amount of these 42 million people are immigrants. 45% of Afghanistani immigrants are on food stamps. 42 of the Somalian immigrants are on food stamps. And 59% of all illegal aliens are collecting food stamps. 59%. So clearly, these people are not coming here and assimilating in our America way of life by working hard and taking care of your family. What an idea. They are coming here to mooch off the American taxpayer. It's wrong, and we need to call it out. But beyond the taxpayer concerns, this religion is also fundamentally incompatible with our Western values, so wake up, America. The Quran instructs Islamists to fight Jews and Christians, along with anyone else who doesn't believe in Allah. Simply put, radical Islam teaches that it is righteous to kill Christians. It's righteous. There's no peaceful coexistence with this type of people. None. Just look at the Middle East and North Africa, where Christians and Jews are being slaughtered by the thousand. Where's our media? Where are they at? More than 7,000 Christians have been slaughtered by radical Muslims in Nigeria so far this year. 7,000. That's 35 people that have been killed every day this year. Where's the mainstream media? How come they're not talking about that? Radical Islam demands complete obedience, complete, 100%, and will kill you if you dare to speak out against their beliefs and ideologies. This isn't anything new. Muslims have been fighting to wipe out Christians and Jews for centuries. But now the problem isn't just confined to faraway Middle East. It's happening right here in our backyard in 50 states. We're already seeing cities in Michigan, Minnesota being taken over by Sharia law. In Dearborn, Michigan, a Christian pastor recently protested a street was named after a radical Islamist terrorist. Pastor just complained about it. In response, the Muslim mayor of Dearborn told the pastor that he is no longer welcome in the town and will celebrate the day that he leaves. Think about that. A Christian pastor is being silenced here in America for objecting to a taxpayer-funded road being named after a terrorist. We're losing it. Or take what has been happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which has been and seen a massive influx of Somalians moving into their neighborhood. I recently saw a story that absolutely shocked me. More than 75 Somalians have been arrested in a massive scheme where they stole $300 million from a American taxpayer-funded child nutrition program. $300 million. So these Somalian criminals came to Minneapolis. They took advantage of our free schools and our free health care, and then they stole $300 million from American taxpayers right under our noses. Where is the media? Where's the outrage? And where did this money go? Where do you think it went? You guessed it. It went back to Somalia. It's disgusting, and these people should be deported, if not jail for life. In case you're still unclear about the dangers we're facing, here are a few reasons why Sharia law does not work in a Western society like the United States. In America, we value free speech. The U.S. Constitution gives us that right. The First Amendment is what makes this country, America, great. You're allowed to express your opinions publicly without fear of the government arresting you or killing you. But under Sharia law, any criticism that goes against what Muhammad or the Quran says can be punishable by death. Further, under the U.S. Constitution and the First Amendment, equal rights for people of all faiths are protected. Western culture treats everyone equal, regardless of their religious beliefs. Under Sharia law, if you are not a Muslim, you are treated as the enemy. Radical Islam says you can discriminate against and even be violent towards non-Muslims. We see that happening now in Europe, where non-Muslims are being violently attacked every day, all over Europe. It's because Sharia law not only accepts but encourages this type of disgusting behavior. Another major difference between Islam and our Western culture is the way we treat women. In the U.S., marriage happens when a man and woman mutually decide that they want to get married and be with each other. But under Sharia law, older men are allowed to marry 6-year-old girls, which is unbelievable. 6 years old. That's not marriage. In America, we call that pedophilia. But that's just scraping the surface. In Sharia law, women are sold, raped, trafficked, no problem to them. That's their way of life. Women are not allowed to get an education or have a job. They aren't even allowed to leave home without a man escorting them. And women are forced to wear burqas, which cover basically everything but their eyes. Meanwhile, men are allowed to have multiple wives, marry children, and do not have to cover their heads. It makes your blood boil. Not to mention the horrible way that minorities are treated in countries that follow Sharia law. There's no tolerance in these countries. If you live in a country that practices Sharia law and are not Muslim, you're lucky if you aren't thrown in jail or killed. That's because Islam and Sharia law teach that you must hate non-Muslims and should wage jihad, which literally means holy war against people who do not believe. One thing I find particularly ironic is how the left turns a blind eye to the horrible ways LGBT people are treated in countries that follow Sharia law. In countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen, gay people are often given the death penalty. Does that sound like a peaceful, tolerant religion to you? Not me. Unfortunately, this poisonous religion, which I think is closer to a cult, is rapidly growing in this country. Wake up, America. Look no farther than New York, where a radical Islamist, Zohan Mandami, is the front runner to become the next mayor. Mandami has tried everything he can do to hide his radical Islamic beliefs ever since he started campaigning. But he was recently seen in a photo with the co-conspirator of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Think about that. And they're getting ready to elect him mayor. The leading candidate for mayor of New York City is cozying up with an openly jihadist terrorist sympathizer. Where are we going? In New York, if New Yorkers are stupid enough to elect a radical Islamist as their mayor, then they deserve what they get next, and it is coming. I truly believe we're at the crossroads of this country. The time for political correctness is over. That's why I've introduced two bills in the Senate to end Sharia law in this country. End it. The first one is No Sharia Act, which makes it illegal to practice Sharia law when it conflicts with our Constitution. As I've repeatedly said, the radical Islam cult is the opposite of everything, I mean everything that we stand for in America. The second bill I introduced, the Preserving a Sharia Law or Sharia Free America Act, prevents all foreign nationals who advocate for Sharia law from entering this country. No more. If you want to practice that, stay where you're at or go to one of the other 50 countries that practices this. The Trump administration banned people from nearly 50 Muslim countries during the first administration. And thanks to Joe Biden's 4 years of open borders, we now have thousands, I mean thousands of terrorists and their sympathizers who entered our country unchecked. How stupid was that? We have to shut off the spigot before it's too late. This is a major national security threat. Radical Islamists have proven over and over again that they are willing to do whatever it takes to kill just one American citizen. And it didn't just happen overseas. It has been allowed to fester and is alive and well in our very own country, just waiting for the right opportunity to attack. So now is the time to act, because if we don't, we're going to lose this country as we know it. Open your eyes, America. The values of this country was built on cannot coexist with radical Islam. It doesn't work. It's one, our Constitution, or the other. You can't mix them. This isn't a Republican or Democrat issue. This is an American issue. Just look at Europe. We are headed down the same dark path as what Europe's going through now if we don't wake up. We need to permanently shut down Sharia law in this country before it's too late. Wake up, America. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
We, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close debate on the motion to proceed to calendar number 168, H.R. 5371, an act making continuing appropriations and extensions for fiscal year 2026 and for other purposes, signed by 17 senators.
By unanimous consent, the mandatory quorum call has been waived. The question is it the sense of the Senate that debate on the motion to proceed to H.R. 5371, an act making continuing appropriations and extensions for fiscal year 2026 and for other purposes shall be brought to a close upon reconsideration? The yeas and nays are mandatory under the rule. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt-Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton. Mr. Kramer. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Cruz. Mr. Curtis. Mr. Daines. Ms. Duckworth. Mr. Durbin. Ms. Ernst. Mr. Fetterman. Mrs. Fisher. Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith. Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray. Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune. Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Budd, Cassidy, Grassley, Husted, Johnson, King, McCormick, Moody, Risch, Scott of Florida, Sheehy, Thune. Senators voting in the negative: Baldwin, Blunt Rochester, Booker, Cantwell, Duckworth, Hassan, Kim, Rosen, Schiff, Welch. Mrs. Murray, no. Mr. Kane, no. Mr. Barrasso, aye. Ms. Markowski, aye. Mrs. Blackburn, aye. Mr. Reed, no. Mr. Wicker, aye. Ms. Warren, no. Mr. Daines, aye. Mr. Schumer, no. Mr. Langford, aye. Mr. Mullen, aye. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Whitehouse, no. Mr. Rounds, aye. Mr. Marshall, aye. Mr. Kelly, no. Mrs. Hyde Smith, aye. Mr. Graham, aye. Mr. Ricketts, aye. Mrs. Fisher, aye. Ms. Collins, aye. Mr. Curtis, aye. Mr. Sullivan, aye. Mr. Durbin, no. Mr. Schatz, no. Mrs. Brett, aye. Mr. Van Hollen, no. Mr. Murphy, no. Ms. Klobuchar, no. Mr. Young, aye. Ms. Ernst, aye. Mr. Paul, no. Mr. Wyden, no. Mr. Hoven, aye. Ms. Smith, no. Mr. Merkley, no. Mr. Cornyn, aye. Mr. Sanders, no. Mrs. Gillibrand, no. Mr. Hawley, aye. Mr. Bennett, no. Mr. Blumenthal, no. Mr. Cotton, aye. Mr. Warnock, no. Mr. Padilla, no. Mr. Moran. Mr. Moran, aye. Mr. Crapo, aye. Mr. Tuberville, aye. Mr. Fetterman, aye. Mr. Haggerty, aye. Mr. Tillis, aye. Mr. Coons, no. Mr. Peters, no. Mr. Markey, no. Mrs. Shaheen, no. Mr. Lujan, no. Mr. Bozeman, aye. Ms. Lummis, aye. Mr. Kennedy, aye. Mr. Ossoff, no. Mr. Schmidt, aye. Mrs. Capito, aye. Mr. Lee, aye. Mr. Gallego, no. Mr. Hickenlooper, no. Mr. Kramer, aye. Ms. Slotkin, no. Mr. Banks, aye. Ms. Cortez Masto, aye. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, aye. Ms. Also Brooks, no. Mr. Cruz, aye. Ms. Hirono, no. Mr. McConnell, aye. Mr. Heinrich, no. Mr. Moreno. Mr. Moreno, aye.
Can you come back? On this vote, the yeas are 54, the nays are 45. 3/5 of the Senate duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion upon reconsideration is not agreed to. The clerk will report the motion to vote cloture.
Cloture motion, we, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close debate on the nomination of Jordan Emery Pratt of Florida to be United States District Judge for the Middle District of Florida, signed by 17 senators.
By unanimous consent, the mandatory quorum call has been waived. The question is it the sense of the Senate that debate on the nomination of Jordan Emery Pratt of Florida to be United States District Judge for the Middle District of Florida shall be brought to a close? The yeas and nays are mandatory under the rule. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Also Brooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you.
Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt-Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray. Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Barrasso, Cassidy, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Curtis, Daines, Graham, Haggerty, Kennedy, Lee, Marshall, Moody, Moran, Marino, Paul, Rounds, Schmidt, Scott of South Carolina, Tillis, and Wicker. Senators voting in the negative: also Brooks, Blunt Rochester, Coons, Duckworth, Fetterman, Heinrich, Hirono, King, Lujan, Padilla, Sanders, Schatz, and Slotkin. Mr. McConnell, aye. Ms. Collins, aye. Mr. Welch, no. Mr. Grassley, aye. Mr. Ricketts, aye. Mr. Husted, aye. Mr. Wyden, no. Ms. Ernst, aye. Ms. Klobuchar, no. Mr. Gallego, no. Mr. Risch, aye. Mr. Justice, aye. Mrs. Blackburn, aye. Mrs. Fisher, aye. Mr. Cruz, aye. Ms. Rosen, no. Ms. Lummis, aye. Mr. Cornyn, aye. Mr. Langford, aye. Mr. Bozeman, aye. Mr. Schumer, no. Mr. Kim, no. Mr. Bennett, no. Mr. Mullen, aye. Mr. Tuberville, aye. Mrs. Gillibrand, no. Mr. Thune, aye. Mrs. Murray, no. Mr. Markey, no. Mr. Ossoff, no. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Reed, no. Mr. Merkley, no. Mr. Sheehy. Mr. Sheehy, aye. Mr. Durbin. Mr. Durbin, no. Mr. Young. Mr. Young, aye. Mrs. Hyde-Smith. Mrs. Hyde-Smith, aye. Mr. Schiff. Mr. Schiff, no. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott of Florida, aye. Mr. Kane. Mr. Kane, no. Mr. Van Hollen. Mr. Van Hollen, no. Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith, no. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, aye. Mr. Peters. Mr. Peters, no. Ms. Baldwin. Ms. Baldwin, no. Ms. Warren. Ms. Warren, no. Mrs. Capito. Mrs. Capito, aye. Ms. Cantwell. Ms. Cantwell, no. Mr. Budd. Mr. Budd, aye. Mr. McCormick. Mr. McCormick, aye. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly, no. Ms. Hassan. Ms. Hassan, no. Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan, aye. Mr. Hickenlooper. Mr. Hickenlooper, no. Ms. Cortez Masto. Ms. Cortez Masto, no. Mrs. Shaheen. Mrs. Shaheen, no. Mr. Hoven. Mr. Hoven, aye. Mr. Warnock. Mr. Warnock, no.
On this vote, the ayes are 52, the nays are 47. The motion is agreed to. The clerk will report the nomination.
Nomination, the judiciary, Jordan Emery Pratt of Florida to be United States District Judge for the Middle District.
Under the previous order, the Senate stands in recess until 2:15 p.m.
Thank you so much. Go get them. Corn in the market.
December
Yellow.